going to talk about the winning topic for today's video. So a bunch of people voted on the Matzlaw Advanced Research group page, and so the winner is the video about the Empire of Ross, obviously. So I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the Empire of Ross and the pre-flood war with parasites, and the parasites that were supported by the Atlantis trade union. So first of all, let's talk about the Atlantis trade union. It's the organization that was previously prevailing in the trade of this world, so like everybody was involved in it. It was like some type of cultural exchange community, because obviously when you trade you exchange, and so you can imagine whatever would happen if we had like this free trade community, and we can only dream about it. And actually it was the exchange of not only culture, therefore it was an exchange of the technology itself, the architectural style, the so-called belief system, right, the mentality, and the cultural paradigm itself. Okay, so who are actually the parasites? I've been trying to talk about it in a couple of the previous videos, and I had a bunch of comparisons, like what they're supposed to be looking like, but definitely they are connected to the Nagi race and the so-called marine kingdom, right? Because we have seen a bunch of obviously trusted evidence, because everybody could say it's working in this paradigm of what we are proposing to. So if you haven't watched those videos, you might as well take a look, and the link's gonna be in the top right angle, right? In the top right angle. Okay. So the Empire of Ross had so-called self-governance system. Empire itself is a word that consists of two words, in the name and Perun. Perun is like the god of all this world. So it's like he has like different interpretations in his name, and let's like be the Almighty God, like the one who is responsible for control of the energy on this world. Okay, so the empire itself was called in the name of Perun, so it's the only original empire we know. All the made-up empires that we know from the history are probably just the regions of this empire, or the names that were made up due to different editions and different people that were involved, in different groups that were involved in this edition that was preceded in the late 19th century, right? And also probably those people who were preceding the edition of history were preparing, and they were bringing the facts and the artifacts from their world, because we don't have just one world, right? We have a bunch of worlds, and they were all connected with some type of transportation system and the technology that could be teleporting people or transferring information like we have right now in the internet, or some type of Skype devices. Well, let's just not just take it as what we suppose, and let's let it be just a theory. So we had this world that was communicating with other worlds, and this certain world was connected to this trade union that was called Atlantis, and they had some type of headquarters in each and every region. So that's why we see the spread of this culture all over the world. But in other things like culture, we see like that people having different languages right now. They were all connected to this language system that was before. So the reason they speak different languages right now is because they were brainwashed during the resets, and therefore they lost the connection to the previous culture. as what we are right now doing, because the English we could be finding in 19th century, 17th century is different from the English that we have that we right now using, and it's changing each year. The same thing with Russians. We had like 50 letters in our alphabet before the revolution of Bolsheviks. Now we have only 33. So, and this is what I've been talking in one of the videos about ancient linguistic encoding. And if you haven't watched this, watch that video, link over here. Okay, so I expect that you understand everything that I've been talking before. So if you guys still don't realize what the hell is Empire of Ross, you might as well watch this video here in the link where I've been talking about it in the car, and I've been talking about the connection of Tartary. So Tartary is just the largest piece of that broken empire that was hanging on until the beginning of 19th century, and therefore before the last mudflood that we have. I'm here researching the mudflood on this channel, so I expect that you watched some of my videos at least of the reasons of mudfloods. So I've been talking about the reasons of mudfloods for all 3 years. So, and what I figured is that the mudfloods somehow connected to the mining, and each and everything that we know on this world is connected to the mining. At least the recent 400 years, we've been caught up in this with this mining stuff. So we have a bunch of evidence of mining, and we have some people also researching the same thing. So you might as well want to check them out. I leave you a link in the description. I've been talking about this guy in a previous video, and if you haven't watched it, watch it also. So like what mining evidence we have like evidence of different methods of mining that are comparably used in our present era, right? We have some geological process that could be started with mining, and it's officially accepted by the science, because, for example, terracones, if you don't cut the top of the terracone, it's going to be blowing up. But people probably that were mining before, they didn't care about that it could be blowing up in like 100 years, 200 years. They left the mining, collected all the goods from the area, got their equipment with them, and left. So that's why we only see the evidence of the byproducts and the process, not the so-called instruments or technology devices. Although we have seen some spare parts, like those mining grading balls all around the world, and some details that are like petrified in some type of mud, which is now like a rock or something, and people have been researching it. I don't know, maybe I can tell you about Wise Up, or maybe a few more people who done some compelling research about this, although maybe some interpretations of different authors are not 100% equal to my explanation. You can also watch them and see what they talk about the technology and the devices that they can find all around the world, right? So that means the mining and the spread of technology itself was everywhere. So it's like the people were not retarded. The people were not like in a Stone Age or something, or like as we were told in the history, like they were Dark Ages or Medieval Ages and stuff like this. So it's like that means that something was happening. But what have changed that is that the war with those parasites from the outside worlds that were leaking into this place via those so-called floods, and those floods are some type of cleansing technology that could be used in this place. So I mean, they're not completely contradicting the concept of this construct of this place, right? So those people can be using these floods to enter the system with their troops, or maybe large numbers of creatures that are not supposed to be born here, because the only way you can find yourself here in this place is you have to be born here. So, and you have to, the only way you can leave it is when you leave the physical body. So those creatures were coming via the floods with those large physical bodies. I mean, some creatures that are bigger and more stronger than the human, and maybe to oppose that, as what we know from the books, from the different myths and legends, people had some type of giants all around, and we have some bunch of evidence. So the Empire of Rose consisted of 2 or 3 types of people. I wouldn't call them races, I would call them types. Like, and people could be grown and breeded in some certain type, because the people were all, handling this place for several, I don't know, millions, maybe thousands of years, and they had all this technology of breeding, of course, and that's why we can find different so-called races here in this world, because it was some type of breeding of, I wouldn't call it cloning, I would call it breeding process. Like the same type we have like with cats or dogs, when we have different types, but they were related and could be, interbreeded with themselves. So I wouldn't call it some type of, extraordinary thing. Everybody knows about it, but you just cannot speak about it, because you'll be blamed as some type of racist or fascist or whatever. But it's true. It's the breeding technology that can precede what we can see right now as evidence. Like when you have a large number of people appear in a place with totally ruined architectures, we can see in 19th century, and those people just do some type of reset and totally reset the territory with some different types of people. And like, it can be called a migration waves, it can go whatever, but the evidence that we see is that it was some type of war. And what those parasites did is they were moving those different type of breeding groups and populating the area with the new people after they got rid of the previous civilization of Empire of Ross. So, and split and divide, split and conquer, that's what they were doing. And they needed somebody to help them to set this thing up, and that's why it was the Atlantis trade union, because it was communicating with other cells, other worlds all around, our place. So it was easy to smuggle stuff via this trade union, and also they were traders who, sold their souls or whatever you call it, and just, became the mercenaries for those outsiders, those parasitic races of Nagis and the Marine Kingdom, which is also had the right to control this territory, because we have a bunch of oceans, and they think that if you have some type of water device or some type of water area, they can come and they can, handle stuff there. So and that's why this flooding technology, this great flood technology, when you see some like opens of those domes and stuff like this, when water's running from above, like huge floods, that we were like send the message of this via different books like Bible and stuff like this. So I wouldn't say it's 100% true information, but it looks like that it's highly likely that the Marine Kingdom is connected. And so at a certain point we had this type of exchange of different attacks that would be called I wouldn't say it's a war act, but it was like some type of attacks. And so we had to lock this cell. So we had this technology to lock this cell and totally avoid any external presence of anything here. But those sneaky parasites were already here. So it was like for 2 or 3 centuries after the defeat of Empire of Rose, after the lock of the cell. The cell is still locked, by the way. Nobody can come here, and all those parasites here are just dying and no replacement available, except that they do some dark rituals and they hire the local soul people and making them their slave or their humanoids possessed people, right? So you know what I'm talking about. All these secret societies, people on top level, there's just some enlightened, illuminated people that are actually just the slaves of those controllers from the Marine Kingdom and from the Nagi race, those serpent people, serpent fishy people. Okay, and also we have like shorties that were also betraying us, and some shorties actually were called Karls. Karls in Russian is Karlik, Karlik is shorty, and Karl is the name of the king. So they were just, you know, probably the ancestors of all the kings. And I've been talking about it in the video that was called Craw, Crown, and Brave Bravery. Check it out if you haven't watched it. Okay, so we had this exchange between those who were before that. The old world order was changed into what we know today, and it's not completely changed yet because it all started as the War Act only in the first half of the 19th century, when we see all these civil wars, or like Crimean wars, different other wars that were like proceeding in this place. And it was like a civil conflict when those split parts were exchanging with each other and finding out who was the best. So, and all those people ended up to be the relatives, you know. So these elite people ended up to be relatives, right? So we can only guess what type of wars did we have before. Was it just a slaughtering of the people, or was it just the erasing of the elites that were controlling those old civilization people? Who knows? Or maybe it was just, you know, just to reset the knowledge of the people, so they won't find any trace of the knowledge that was before. So who knows? And the set of wars that we had before could be proven that, because we literally don't have any books that could be, you know, that could be revealing the information about the mudflood. Although we have some reference, and I started to talk about it in one of my videos, and I'm gonna be continuing about this hidden reference about the mudflood and all these events that were finishing up the parasitic takeover, the parasitic coup. They like this word, coup. The parasitic coup that they are proceeding right now, and you know, they like all these coups. That's why they, you know, that's why they're here. That's why they do what they do. Okay. But what happened next when we lost? I don't know. What was the technology? Probably they had some technology of carpet bombing, and they established some production of those devices. It could be, you know, air fleet that they had, and they carpet bombed the area of Tartary, the northern part of those, the largest part of the broken empire of Rus, and that's why we have it. And also, I'd like to talk about the reference of Rus, and I'll probably make a little clip for you two guys to check it out. Anyway, it was nice to talk about this topic, guys, and if you really liked it, press like button, subscribe, share this video, and write a couple of comments so this video could be ranked a little bit higher than it usually is, because, you know, they pressing this topic down, and obviously if you don't like those videos, you won't find them in your feed line, right? So thanks a lot for following, and see you later. Next talk coming up soon. Hey people, wanted to finish with this Polytechnical Museum, which is right now reconstructed. As you know, plenty of underground buried windows were found during the excavation. So this is the original view of the project. It's not even photographed, because I don't know why, because it was like 1871. So maybe it's even older, but they dated it at least like this. And we have some plans that show the full ensemble of this building, with these floor plans and stuff like this, and even a central part has a basement. But we ain't talking about the central part, because it was the northern part that got excavated. This is the central part, actually photographed in 1880s, and as we can see, both sides are empty and cleaned from some type of demolition, probably the previous building, is what I expect. So this is what actually it looks right now after the excavation. As you can see, I came to the site and it's right now closed, but the the overall plan you've seen before. And so right now it's supposed to be some type of arena. I don't know. People are gonna be sitting there and checking it out. So it's gonna be like a pedestrian bridge there and stuff like this. So this is how it looks from the side. And there we go with the central part also visible in the center of the building. And this is a northern wind, so this is how it looks during the excavation. People pictured and did all these bird floors, this general view of the excavation. And this is how it looks from below, from the side. So it's like very evident that something was buried there, and probably you've seen a bunch of pictures and a bunch of speculation of the building, and we can see only even some holes there. And on a general plan, we also see that some type of basement there, and there are some pictures from inside, and all those windows are bricked up. So I don't know. Pictures from the sides also show some strangeness and stuff like this, and they even have 18-meter shafts there. So all the areas found to be with all those buried windows. So it's like to the side of this building there's a whole bunch of buildings, and all of them have very deep windows, and they are right now looking like this on most of the building they used. And but you cannot even see the window because it's so deep. And so but it even looks very strange when a person is trying to sneak into this small construction that they used to just to close the view at those buried windows. You can't even see them. So it's like well, you can see them with the eye but not with the camera, because it's like reflecting the light. And the whole street is like this. I mean, all this Tartarian red brick here and there, and it's everywhere. So the building in general plan looks like this. This is the central part that's now rebuilt, and on the photo you can see that when it was pictured the first time with a photograph, it also had buried windows, bricked up windows on the second and third floor on the side of the building, right? So this is also the area close to it. As you can see, a bunch of those facilities there with the buried windows, and even some walls of those demolished buildings are still standing, so you can see them. So it's like literally I was stunned by this, construction that I saw, because it looks like a house, but when you pass through this door, you can see this is just a single wall of the previous house, and the house nearby also has buried windows. So it's like, well, wait a minute, what the heck is going on? Is it this not enough to say it's coincidence or something? It's not a coincidence. It's like, it's a system, because it's repeatable, and all those constructions look the same, pretty much the same style, pretty much the same technique and stuff like this. So I have a bunch of abandoned and reconstructed buildings everywhere, and also you can see that they have something underground there, and every building in that area also has underground buried windows. Very, very strange, indeed. If you try to check them out, they're like really deep there, really deep. So this is a system. So it's not like only this Polytechnical Museum has it. So look at the side, those buried bricked up windows there. So this is the general view from the southern part, and this is the building that I actually entered to check it out. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe these are just basement floors, and so, well, they look strange from the side. They already look like windows that are bricked up, and in case this is the bar or karaoke bar also this in the line, but I wasn't there for karaoke, so I went inside the restaurant to check out the windows, and I saw the bricked up windows. So it's like very evident, very, very evident. I walked around in the cafe to check the general view, but you know, everything was reconstructed by those windows are evident. So these are the windows. Right now they have small holes that they use for not for water not to flood in, of course, because if you have those windows are in a regional way, they could be, you know, all this rainwater would be dropping inside the cafe. So what they use right now is ancient construction, the same type as the Polytechnical Museum. As you can see, it's the same type of architecture, and it's like 50 meters from it, in fact, so it's not like very far. Okay, all those arches look the same as we just saw on the picture from the Polytechnical Museum. If you walk out, you also see that the reconstruction of course changes the outside view, and you won't see it. Okay, but in fact, very interesting example, very interesting Polytechnical Museum. It's not a lot lower, as you can see, like little decrease of altitude here, but it's like not deeper than what we see during the excavation. So it's like the same level, pretty much the same level. So this kind of proves that a whole bunch of this area is buried. This is what we see also in Washington DC when we got these recent pictures of excavation and the reconstruction of visitor area, and as we can see, those slurry walls are holding on all those amounts of soil. But what doesn't work here is the central part. Is obviously looks very interesting because something is inside there and they're hiding it from us. And what they did is just, you know, poured all this concrete on the slurry walls and using it just to hide all those underground facilities. But of course they could have it since the Cold War. But now, can you explain how could they, you know, build this whole area, you know, all this stuff? Then it was built in 17 and 1800s. So, and we don't see also any pictures except like the one that's showing no dome on, and dome was reconstructed, could be reconstructed because the building could be built a lot earlier. So all these visitor areas right now, huge underground level. So, and this goes all the way to what we saw in Paris during the market reconstruction, and the same type of slurry walls hiding what inside of the city, all those undergrounds that filled with Paris is filled with. So yeah, Paris has lots of undergrounds, so I imagine that down there below the White House we can also find a bunch of them. So why would they you know, make all this construction, the stupid construction? And to see those pictures in high resolution you have to pay like I don't know, $500 or something like this. Well, whatever, the amount of money is not like very expensive, but it's not, it doesn't give you any guarantee that you can find what you can find. So if you made it up to here, then you're a great fan of mine. So probably I'll start this tradition because I've already tried this before and make this post-scriptum short videos, like for a minute or too long after the end of the video. So I expect you guys to check for some of them post-scriptums in the previous ones. So if you haven't seen this thing going on here, so what I wanted to say is great thanks for you to support me as much as watch this till the very end, because that I expect that helps in the ranking of the video and the so-called involving the new people that are not connected to the topic. Because if the YouTube algorithm sees that you guys watch till the end, then it gives me more chance to rank higher in the suggested videos. So okay, each and every time I'm gonna give a short information that is not presented in the main video. So what I wanted to say today is that I want to make a challenge on the Ross. So I want you guys want you guys like John Levy, Eliza, Flatter British, Richard Lopez, I don't know, who else? Black Sheep Researcher, and many more people which I can, can rebel without the pause. All you guys to check for your Ross evidence all around. How many words and brands do you know that are connected with Ross, and what Ross actually means in your point of view? Because people say that nothing is really showing us any evidence of Empire of Ross. I say there's a lot more than we even have on Tartary. We have many references to Ross, and Ross itself, these words that are connected to it, in our blood, because Ross is red, and red is the color of blood. So, and we know who are controlling the red bloods, the blue bloods, right? So I've been talking about it in several chats before. So if you guys haven't watched this chat with Modvis, I expect you guys to watch it, because the link is over here. Thanks a lot for following, and see you later, guys. Bye.